we're getting a lot of
Pleasure.
kind kind comments in the chat here too. So what I was thinking at this point is that we could just kind of open it up to questions. If anybody has questions, we'll try to keep up with them in the chat. And of course, I know Elena can see what's there too. Clint, if you want to help monitor this as well, that'd be great. So let's see. Jameson Goose is asking what inspires you, and can you describe your writing process?
Oh, sure. I think I am inspired very much by popular culture. And I don't mean that just in terms of like what people are consuming right now, but the idea that over the course of culture, from the cave paintings in Chauvet 30,000 years ago or 20-ish thousand years ago to, you know, TikTok dances. Like, I love when a bunch of humans pay attention to something. One of my favorite things to do is then use that energy that they bring. You know, I really feed off very much the energy of other people, to use that energy as an opportunity to investigate the historical moment around their fascination, right? So why Mozart? Why was what was the world like when Mozart was doing what he was doing, right? Like, why, when, if you went to see, if you had to decide between buying a ticket to a bear baiting and buying a ticket to see Hamlet, what was influencing that decision? Like, I like very much, I'm inspired very much by finding a little bitty thing that happens, a little mimetic, a little meme of human culture, and using that as an opportunity to do some homework.
Cool. Well, that's a great answer.
Skunk, question mark?
Yeah, we
lots in the chat about the skunk. The skunk is taking over.
Well, here's the thing, Clint, I don't know, or Dr. Peters, I don't know if you feel this way, but when you write a book about animals, every gift that you get from then on out is very animal based. So I have animal sweatshirts and animal pajamas and animal bags, and only one taxidermied skunk. Apparently, this is from a group in Laramie, Wyoming, and all the skunks are roadkill skunks, so they're not farmed in any way. And people in Wyoming love to hang them in their bathrooms, like Stinky in the bathroom. But I put it in my writing room because there's a lot of stinky writing that happens in this room.
Excellent. That actually, so there's a bunch of really good questions in the chat. I got a couple of them down. So Rachel, my student, is asking about how, like, where do you get topics for research? I am also personally curious about your research process. Sure.
Well, the research process, maybe I don't know. Like, I'll just do it's a harder one to answer, but I will answer it if people want to know. It's kind of, I talked to Dr. Donnelly's people about it. It's kind of nuts, but for me, like, I consider myself an essayist, in that, like, everything with a beginning, middle, and end, short-ish, that I write, I want it to have its own life. I don't want it to be like an Elena Passarello joint. I don't want it to feel like the kind of album where every song uses the exact same 4 instruments. Like, I really want it to, I want to make things that are their own little worlds. And I larger than that, I think, in addition to being an essayist, I made up this word, I'm a collectionist. Like, I like the idea of, if you do that 15 times under the same topical umbrella, you get this product that I think is really interesting, right? So you have a person who's interested in a topic, who tries to make that topic, tries to make 15 units that fall under that topic that also buzz with their own individual energy. So for me, finding ideas, the first thing is to find that big topic, that thing that I could spend 3 to 5 years, like, trying lots of different things with, you know, like, it's like an egg. Like, it's got to be as versatile as an egg. You got to be able to fry it and scramble it and over easy it and use it to make aioli and, you know, decorate it for Easter and throw it at people that you hate, you know, whatever. Like, you have to be able to do it. The topic has to be that versatile and that big. For me, the first book was The Voice, the human voice. And the second book obviously was animals. And I think Elvis is actually pretty sustainable. You could talk about a lot when you talk about Elvis. So the first bit of inspiration is finding something that kind of big of like a trampoline. And then individually, I try to find, I'm looking to see if I can find something that can do a really unique action, right? Like that's when I know that I don't just pick a topic because I think it's cool. I pick a topic because it's cool and I get some kind of idea to make a thing out of it that buzzes in a very individual way, right? Like the things that I learn teach me something cool or unique about the way that I have to tell the world about that thing. So I'm inspired by everything, you know, like I'm inspired by like Maddie Floyd's glasses on her, you know, those are amazing, but I'm not going to write an essay, sorry, Maddie, about your glasses. Like I'm more likely to like follow the line of something that I can make something with it, right? Like, sorry, Zoom reading fatigue is real, apparently. Like, yeah, you know, like it's not, I can't just be like, isn't this cool? Isn't this cool? Did you know that Nikola Tesla was in love with a pigeon that died in his arms? That was like the whole point of my pigeon essay, was that Nikola Tesla had a pet pigeon that he was literally in love with and it died in his arms. But I couldn't figure out a way to turn that into like an essay that buzzed in the way that I wanted to buzz. The buzz came when I only picked pigeons that were used in war. And so I threw kind of that initial inspiration away. That was a long answer, Rachel / Dr. Peters, but yeah. That is so sad. Tesla was sad. And actually, you guys should Google young Tesla. This is inappropriate, but he was kind of a smoke show.
I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah, everybody just hang up the phone, or however we get out of this.
Over. A couple of students, Gabby and Emma, you asked a question kind of along the lines of, what do you do when you're in a slump, when you just feel like you don't have it?
Yeah. For me, I have a kind of a lucky built-in safe zone, because I'm almost always writing about something else that isn't me, that isn't I mean, right now I'm writing about my experiences and it's really hard, but like the thing that I picked is always more interesting than my own slumpiness about it. So I go back into the topic and I find the thing, something about it that is still grilling my cheese. And I write whatever I want that keeps that interest alive. So like, you guys were probably born the year this happened, but in an earlier political time, this guy named Howard Dean made this noise during the 2004 primaries in Iowa. Dave Chappelle makes fun of it. He just was yelling into the microphone and he just went, "Ah!" Right, Eric, the noise that ruined his career. And he just was like, "Ah!" And I was like, how did this happen? How do we get the idea that someone couldn't be president because he made this noise into this microphone? And so I started writing about it, and I just got so mad at the essay. I just thought it just stank. And it had been months that I had been working on it. And I remembered that one of the things that I loved about this whole thing is that it made politics seem like arena rock, you know, like, so I just started a new Word document and I wrote everything I could think of about the scream that I had learned, pretending that I was Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin. And it was like 1970 and I had a sock in my trousers and like, you know, it was just like an open shirt. And kind of just like, who cares? Like, who cares if nothing ever happens? And I listened to all this like loud rock and roll, and I have this really loud Zeppelin loving friend, and I had him call me and sing to me. And I just leaned into that to write my way out of, because the thing that I was slumpy about was my own writing. It wasn't the topic. And I had to remind myself, like, you know, so variations of that is how I get out of slumps. Like, just go cosmic, you know?
Nice. We have a couple of students, Elena, who want to ask you about Cats.
The musical?
I think
Your
Joffrey?
own.
Or Jeffrey? How do you pronounce it? Is it Jeffrey?
Oh, Jeffrey. Oh,
Jeffrey.
yeah. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. How about Jeffrey? So specifically, like, why did I write it? Why is it so awful? Like, what do we want to know? Like,
Well, and Taylor asks, what is the format? Yeah,
Okay.
whatever. Go crazy.
So Jeffrey, I had this rule in the book that I could only have one of every species, because if I didn't, the whole book would just be about cats, among other, or like, there's a million famous dogs. So, and then I made a new challenge that no dogs, I couldn't write about any dogs. And my publisher was so mad at me because apparently things about dogs sell very well. So Jeffrey is about this cat that a writer in England in the mid 18th century named Christopher Smart, or Kit Smart, he went by Kit, so it's like Kitty, had when he was a resident of a mental hospital, an insane asylum. Even though we're not sure if he was actually mentally unhealthy or if he was just suffering from alcoholism, but he was put in the asylum for religious fervor. And he was a very famous writer beforehand and a very famous writer afterward. And in the middle, while he was interred, he wrote this really long poem, a very formal poem, had a very formal structure. And it's got that kind of like fanatic repetition, like loving of God thing. And 75 lines of this like book-length poem is all about this cat that he was hanging out with. So he's like talking about God and Jesus and everybody, and it's like super biblical. And then he's like, by the way, I got this cat named Jeffrey. And it's 75 lines about his cat, Jeffrey. And it's like, for I will consider my cat Jeffrey, for he is the servant of the living God, duly and daily serving him. For he, hold on, some of my favorite lines are like, for he is the very soul of gravity and waggery. For he is of the tribe of tiger. For the cherub cat is a term of the angel tiger. So it's every line begins with for, and it's this like wonderful kind of like love letter to this cat. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to write this essay about Jeffrey, that he'll be my cat in my book. And when I started researching Christopher Smart and this long book-length poem that he wrote when he was in the insane asylum, I learned that this 75-line poem that I've known for years and years, half of it is missing. And it's not like the bottom half or the top half is missing. The left-hand side of the poem is missing. So for every single line that says for I will consider my cat Jeffrey, for he is the very soul of gravity and waggery, for he is the cherub tribe of the angel tiger, there's another line that begins with the word let that's supposed to be on the other side that's been lost forever. So I finished it. I made the left side of the poem. Yes, let all menagerie cats praise tenfold their Jeffrey. That's me. And I know that it doesn't, there's no explanation in the book for that, like that long explanation that I just gave you. I know that like it would be easier to receive the piece if I had done that, but I don't know, I can tell you why I didn't want to do that. But like the other thing that's sort of buried in there, my version, the let lines, is it's an ode to cat videos. So if you look really carefully, I tried to like mimic Christopher Smart's nutso language, no pun intended. And if you look really closely toward the end, it's about us 21st century humans sitting at our desk, watching like cats on a Roomba, because we're going crazy, right? This is pre-pandemic, right? It was just like a low level of sitting in front of the computer all the time. But now, of course, and there's just these little moments when you look at cat videos where they sort of like bring you down. Like I'll scroll through Twitter or like look at the news and then I'll be like, I gotta watch a cat video, so I found the Christopher Smartnessiest part of me, which is I think being in the asylum of the internet. And then the Jeffrey is the cat videos. Cat videos really are the great uniting force of humanity. Amen. I don't know if it's Elena or Elena, but
That's Elena. Yes.
Elena, yeah, well pronounced.
Thanks, Elena. Thanks to everybody too for commenting. A lot of great comments, a lot of great questions on here. I look forward to looking through some of these later as well. But in the meantime, we're about out of time. I just wanted to. I know, it goes fast. I want to thank you, Elena, so much for coming and doing this. Yes, applause.
Thank you,
And
guys.
and thanks Clint too, Dr. Peters for introducing us all to Elena and for suggesting that we invite her here. I think it's been quite wonderful. Elena, we're all hoping for rain for you sooner rather than later. Everybody on the West Coast I know is having a rough time right now, and where you are is you know, it's very red and very scary. And so we're wishing you the best. And hopefully when the pandemic is over, we can have you out here at some point. We'd love to have you on campus.
Anytime. My dad lives like an hour away from Barrie, and he is so disappointed that he didn't get to come hang out with everybody. So anytime, holler, man. I will totally love to come see what you guys are up to. But thank you again so much, everyone. What a lovely, lovely group of people. These comments are just giving me life. So thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Elena. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.
Thank you, everyone. That was really great. Elena, you were, as always, a rock star. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, friends. Thank you for listening. Thank you. I'm sorry to the person that said they were allergic to cats. Quel dommage.
All right. Well, have a good evening, everyone.
Okay. Bye, y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.